And I'm Daryl.
And today we got a little triple threat of reviews, if you will.
Indeed, a triple threat.
Would you mind opening the door to the first album?
Indeed, we must. And I think it's from a different voice this time.
Some other voices, maybe.
What could it be? Go ahead.
We're gonna start in reverse order.
Yeah.
But the first album is a album by the Doors. At least 3 of them. Other Voices.
Indeed.
The first album that the Doors came out with following Jim Morrison's untimely passing.
Indeed. What a good album. Holy shit.
Very underrated album, I would say, honestly. I feel like it doesn't get as much love as the other Doors albums with Jim Morrison. I mean, obviously, a lot of people probably do realize there's a lot of people that probably don't realize that there is other Doors albums after he died.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those albums, too, that even when I first ever started listening to it, just kind of brushed it away, you know. But once I really listened to it, I thought it was a really good one. So, what's the track list here, Corey?
We had side 1, In the Eye of the Sun. Ouch. Variety is the spice of life.
It is.
Ships with Sails, very sick song. Followed by Tightrope Ride, which is a super banger.
The organ in that is so cool.
The Oreo?
That too.
Yeah. Side 2 starts off with Down on the Farm. I'm Horny, I'm Stoned is the next song, which might be what we are. Just kidding. Gaddy line. Wandering Musician. And the last song on side 2 is Hang On to Your Life.
Indeed.
Which Jim Morrison did not take advice of.
No, he did not. Well, I wonder too, like how much of Jim's shit was actually in this, because when I listened to this, really the only Doorsy-esque atmosphere song to me is Ships with Sails. Like I could definitely see Jim singing that and writing it.
Yeah.
So it's hard, you know, it's like when you look at the songs written, it's just Krieger, Dinsmore, Manzarek. So it's like...
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it's very Ray Manzarek driven, if I'd say so myself.
This is an original too. I think Corey gave me this.
Awesome.
From 71.
Good year.
I would say, what's like your favorite go-tos on this album?
Oh, Tightrope Ride for sure. Ships with Sails is another one.
Oh, dude.
Those 2 songs are pretty bad. Pretty badass.
Pretty bad. I would say mine is definitely Ships with Sails. Like that's one of the coolest songs I've ever heard by anybody. And then Down on the Farm too. That one was really sick. In the Eye of the Sun, I really like. I mean, really, this album is like one of those albums where you can just all the Doors to me. I can listen to it from top to bottom and not be like, fuck this song, try to skip it or whatever.
Each song has their own uniqueness.
And you can definitely feel in the album that, you know, obviously the pain, you know, trying to come back as a band without your lead singer.
Yeah, and you're
it's impossible.
Lyricist.
Yeah. And the fact that this was 71 and how fast that was after LA Woman, it's like they just had no choice pretty much but to fucking
they had
stay
to try to make it
money.
work. And I'm sure they knew it was going to be challenging without Jim Morrison, that anyone would even want to really pick it up and listen to it.
Yeah, and I think that's why Ships with Sails is such a banger, because I feel like it's almost in a way dedicated to Jim. You know, and I'm sure all their shit, kind of like Pink Floyd with all their songs and albums, are to Sid Barrett. You know, it's like, it's a sick fucking album though, and they have plenty more after this one that are really good too.
Well, I think they had one other one after that, and then the American
Poet
one.
That's right, that's what it was, yeah.
Which American Poet's
it's
Jim
just
Morrison's poetry to their music. But that's another video for another time. We'll talk about it eventually.
So, what I would rate this album, obviously not the best Doors album and not my favorite Doors album.
Yeah.
But it's still a solid, I feel like the problem with this is I feel like every song isn't like their best shit they could have done. for the album. Like I feel like it's all just kind of thrown together. Obviously, I thoroughly enjoy all the songs, but it's like you don't have your radio hits. You don't have.
You're definitely
radio
missing the
hits.
main ingredient for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes I get why they called it the Doors, because I mean they could have just called it something else and moved on with a new name, but obviously they want to use the Doors name to try to sell as many copies as possible.
Right.
But as like a Doors album, it's not their best in the catalog for sure. I mean, it's not one that you're gonna want to go to if you're in the mood to listen to Doors. You're probably gonna want to listen to something with Jim Morrison.
Right.
But I still give it a solid, rating. I'd probably still give it like a 6.5 out of 10.
Yeah, that's where I was at. I was at a 7 because it's still really good, and it's a hard thing to do, coming out of like a death of literally, your lead guy, and then still being able to like pull it together and make an album. That's not easy to do.
Yeah, most bands definitely just fold after something like that.
Yeah, for
tragically
sure.
has happened.
And I'm surprised too that they didn't like mention anything in here about Jim Morrison. Like there's no notes, not like in memory or lyrics or whatever the fuck. It's just like all those 3 dudes. But I mean, I guess that's how it was. I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, 7 out of 10 for me, 6.5 for Corey.
You just round it up to 7 too.
We can just round it to 7 too. Exactly. So great album. If you've never listened to it, go check it out. So on to the next album.
Alright, the next album we're gonna do is we're gonna transition into a little softer on this one.
A parade like.
Yeah, I mean, I like parades and I like soft parades.
Yes.
So the next album we review is the Doors Soft Parade. Going back to when Jim Morrison was with the Doors, this is their, I think their 4th album, I believe, came out in 1969. And I feel like this album kind of got criticized when it came out. I feel like it got old reviews. And going back and listening to it, it's not a bad album at all.
No. Like it was definitely more of a hit-oriented written album that you could tell.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, it wasn't. It felt like it was more influenced by other people rather than like the Doors.
Yeah, it's still a solid album. It's side 1 is Tell All the People. I'm sure everyone's heard that song. What about number 2, track 2, Touch Me, classic song. Shaman's Blues.
Baby.
Number 3.
Ooh, Shaman's Blues too, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Number 4, Do It.
Do it.
Number 5 is Easy Ride. Side 2 starts out with Wild Child.
Terrible child.
And number 2, Runnin' Blue.
Oh, shit.
Very like bluesy kind of
Yeah,
song.
that song is sick.
Number 3 is Wishful Sinful.
Wishbone, sinful, la 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 la. Damn, I haven't listened to that one.
It's a good one. It is a good album. And the
Yeah.
last track, of course, is the Soft Parade.
Which Sweet Smoke did that
Mm-hmm.
also.
Very solid. I like the opening of the Soft Parade.
It's
with
it's like a whole different like.
Yeah, it goes into like
Reminds me of like a game show
yeah.
intro for some reason.
It's a solid album.
The inside is.
The cool inside gatefold. Account, like I said, 1969. What's your thoughts on the Soft Parade?
Well, if I may, just hold it for 1 second. I always thought the cover was super cool. It's very obscure, and the fact that the camera is like them taking it.
Yeah, that's
Of
like
you.
taking selfies before it was cool. I mean, even though they're not taking selfies.
Yeah, it's like so many. It's just so many credits on here, dude. Yeah, solos and bass, trombones, like all kinds of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Rothschild, yeah, he produced this shit. He's done a lot of shit, especially with Electra. So yeah, I mean, this album, it's again, it's not a favorite of mine. It's not like in the top 3, but it is a solid one. The highlights to me is Tell All the People, Touch Me, of course, Shaman Blues, Wild Child,
Yeah, it's a classic.
and of course the Soft Parade. That song is super good, super groovy.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what about you? What's like some tracks that you're interested in?
Definitely, Touch Me, classic. You can't go wrong with Touch Me.
Right.
Wild Child's awesome. Running Blues, nice. Wishful, Sinful, and I like the Soft Parade too. Like the opening's cool. It goes right into like a really cool jammy kind of song. It's like 8.5 minutes long, I think.
It's it's like 3 songs, right? Like
yeah, I feel like it's kind of like it's because they have the whole thing was like it says that shit about like the praying or whatever.
Oh yeah. You cannot petition the Lord with prayer. Yeah. Yeah, dude. Damn, I forgot about that. I haven't listened to this album in some time. Not long ago, I guess. Maybe a couple weeks ago. But I was mostly listening to the Soft Parade.
Yeah, and we've what was the Doors album we've reviewed on here before? Like almost probably 10 years ago now. Was
Strange
it Strange Days, I believe. So go back to the archives for that one. But we figured we'd give people a treat, whether you care or not, that we would just do like a marathon of Doors albums today, because we both love the Doors. Yeah. I would say the Doors is probably probably one of our favorite bands that we discovered like way back in probably like middle school or so, if not earlier.
Easily. I mean, Jim Morrison is the reason why I got into singing and wanting to make music and psychedelic
and we went to school with Jim Morrison.
We did. That dude was kind of cool. So yeah, this album, honestly, it's probably, to me, it's gonna be back in that 7 range, because again, it's not their bangerest of albums, and there's songs I do kind of skip or not listen to, but still a 7. I mean, it's still a really good album, but it's like, again, back to like, it felt like they were all recording with like guns to their heads. Like they needed to make hits.
Like Billy Gunn was there in the room with them.
Yeah. And they needed to come out with like hits and all that shit that you could really tell. It didn't feel very Doors-like, except for the Soft Parade. I felt was like a little more kind of their alley, I guess, if that makes sense. And really, it's like, I'm gonna sound like an idiot, but did they do it originally, or was it Sweet Smoke that did it originally?
I always figured it was the Doors. Is there credits on that? You're like, well, it says Jim Morrison.
Yeah, I guess. Oh yeah. So that's pretty cool. So yeah.
I feel like
it could have gone either way.
I feel like it was like one of those Jim Morrison kind of poetry kind of songs.
Yeah, definitely. Their artwork is always just nuts.
Yeah, dude. Like I went to this Jim Irsay thing like a couple months ago. And this guy has like a collection, just a shit ton of like music memorabilia. He's got like sports memorabilia. He's got like a ton of stuff, and it's like cool because he just like goes on tour and displays it. But he had like Jim Morrison's like book of like journals. Oh, it was like just a journal of like writings.
Yeah, that's crazy. I wish I would.
Cool to see that his golden microphone that he performed with like for a long ass time. Mm-hmm. It was just cool to see that stuff. Just to know that Jim Morrison like wrote in that journal like. Held that microphone.
Yeah, the fact that why the hell does he have it? Which is even more
because he's a freaking like billionaire.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, like owns the Indianapolis Colts.
But yeah, seeing that would be super cool. I still have this really weird memory of my mom telling me that my cousin was like a producer for the Doors.
Chris.
Yeah. And I don't think I ever really confirmed that, but if it's true. I mean, obviously it was way past when Jim Morrison was dead, but I wonder how true that was, or
look it up in your
ancestry tree. She like forgot it wasn't the Doors.
She maybe thought it was like it was like the Windows or something.
Yeah, the cover band.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, 7 out of 10. What about you?
I probably agree with you. 7 out of 10.
Yeah, it's still good. Still, like I said, it's not one of those albums like if I put it on, I at least skip a song or two. And not the fact that I'm like, I don't enjoy this. It's just like, I've heard it too much, and
you kind of have to be in the mood for it.
Yeah, you got to be in the mood for this album, really. Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So yeah, this was the Soft Parade, killer album. If you haven't checked it out, we recommend it. And we also give it 2 thumbs up.
Well, always 2 thumbs up. We'll give it a 7 out of 10, but always 2 thumbs up.
And their voices also is
2 thumbs up. Yeah.
So we got one more.
This is the main event.
Doors album.
Let's get ready to rumble while Corey mumbles. Coming down the aisle, it is Morrison Hotel. And this particular album, I was probably one of the first albums I bought. You were actually with me. I don't know if you remember this, but it was that indie CD and vinyl.
No, I do remember that.
And this was probably like 2010, maybe 2011, maybe earlier.
I definitely remember that though.
Definitely picked it up.
Oh yeah, actually the pictures just popped up of me taking a picture of took a picture of like a Hendrix album on vinyl at indie CD vinyl and just being mind blown.
Do you remember how many years ago it was?
I think it was 2011.
So 12 years ago, if my math is correct, and I'm horrible at math. I took a lot, but I'm not that good at it.
Same. I took a lot of math, but I can't do that.
Sorry, Mr. Fish.
Morrison Hotel. So yeah, let's hear the track listings and.
I'm gonna take it out of this little bag. But this one is the Rhino vinyl, a 180 gram reissue. It's probably vintage now because, like I said, I got it like 12 years ago. But this is probably one of my favorite Doors albums too. Like, spoiler alert, I'm probably gonna give it a pretty high rating. But track 1, the Hard Rock Cafe side, is Roadhouse Blues, freaking banger. Waiting for the Sun, another banger. You Make Me Real, banger. Peace Frog, banger. Blue Sunday, blanger. Ship of Fools, banger. Then we go side 2, the Morrison Hotel side. It's Let Go is the first song. The Spy is the second song. Queen of the Highway, Indian Summer, and Maggie McGill.
Maggie McGill, she lived on the hill.
Really cool album, and I actually follow this Instagram page. I don't know, I'm sure I probably sent it to you, but he like takes pictures of like the like Madre Day areas of like where they took these pictures and stuff, and he has a picture of like where the Morrison Hotel was like filmed, and he like has the album cover like next to it. So it's like kind of lines up perfectly. It's a really cool page. But like the back of it, so it's just
I love this album.
It's a freaking great album. This is like the first Doors album I probably purchased was this album. I would assume if this was one of the first albums I bought. But definitely when I saw it, I was like, I had to have it. Yeah. Now I have like 30,000 records probably.
All for sale.
You know, if the price is right, anything's for sale. Right. Besides my WWF turnbuckle pad.
We have a video for that too.
Yeah, it's in the archives. Well, I'm probably not going to link in the description because this is mindingly embarrassing. But what is your thoughts on Jim Morrison's Hotel?
Yeah, I always thought this album was super cool. And probably, one of the first ones I really got into. Like that Stuck. And it always drove me nuts that Waiting for the Sun was on this and not on the album Waiting for the Sun.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing.
I was always just like, what? Because I bought that album before that song and then realized it wasn't on there. I was like, what the fuck? So yeah, this album is super solid. Side A is definitely way stronger than side B.
I'd agree.
Waiting for the Sun, probably my favorite. Peace Frog, of course. Ship of Fools, I actually have a ship tattooed in here. It says Ship of Fools for this one, so it meant a lot. Landhill is cool. I would say Indian Summer though, man. That's like the sleeper one.
It's a good song.
It's like the underground sleeper. Maggie McGill's great. But yeah, it's just like, it's just so crazy to think that these dudes were like so young too.
Yeah.
Obviously, when we were first buying these albums, they seem like they're way older.
And that was crazy because like Jim Morrison died when he was like 27. Then when like we were in like middle school when we first found that out, probably he seemed like he was an old guy. Now we're in our 30s, and that's 27 seems relative.
Yeah, you're like, damn, you get to live a long time, and then you're like 27, and you're like, oh, what the hell?
He had so much more life to give.
So yeah, I'm gonna rate this one a little higher than the last two. I would say not too much higher though. It's gonna be
shocking.
It's gonna be a good 8.5 though for me. 8.5.
That's pretty high.
Another Doors album that's not my personal favorite, but it's up there. But yeah, 8.5. I mean,
yeah, it's good.
7 is still good too.
I'd probably give it a 9. Honestly, it's probably like I said, it's probably my favorite Doors album. It's probably my go-to. If anyone asks me what my favorite Doors album is, it's probably that one or Strange Days.
Ooh,
that's another one. Is Strange Days the one we reviewed?
Yeah, I'm pretty positive.
I think it is. I was gonna say we should review it again if not.
I mean, we could always revamp it. See if we say the same things.
Yeah, we could. Maybe do like a little watch-along comparison. But yeah, definitely 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. And we'll meet in the middle and say it's a 8, 9.
Nice, this medium middle.
Medium middle. More the higher side, of course. Because the Doors, I mean, it's hard to give them a low rating.
They are great.
For the songs they've done, and you know, the movies, the biographies, all that shit.
Yeah, the Doors movies, like, are awesome movies.
I just watched it not too long ago. It's so trippy.
With Val Kilmer.
Yeah.
It's a long movie though.
It's long as hell.
It's a good movie though.
I feel like Val Kilmer, he killed it, but there's some scenes where it's like really dramatic. And I feel like Jim Morrison probably wasn't as dramatic as he portrays him.
Probably.
Because wasn't something like the dude from the Doors like pissed about it because they're like, it's not right or some shit.
That sounds right.
But it's also a movie, you know.
Yeah, you gotta amplify it up a little bit.
Yeah, so 3 Doors albums.
Like Cocaine Bear, like based on a true story, but I'm sure it's like very loosely based on it when you actually watch it.
So yeah, 3 Doors albums, all get 2 thumbs up.
Which is like 4 thumbs up if you do the math.
And really, it's 4 times 3, which is something.
Yeah, too many numbers, too many maths.
Too many maths.
Too many maths.
So yeah, if you haven't checked any of those albums, here's one. Here they are.
Yeah, the triple threat.
In their glory. So until next time, Shaq.